Hey, Rhythm Guitar Rockers, this is Mark Turco from rhythmguitarlessons.net, and today we're going to talk about harmonic density and rhythm. It's in part of every song you listen to. You may not know what it is, but you've definitely heard it. So in this video, I'll show you a part of a live stream I had with Tom Hess from tomhess.net and Deanna DeCabaras from songwritinglessonsonline.com. Deanna and Tom Hess will explain what harmonic density and rhythm is, how it's used, and cite examples of songs you may be familiar with to illustrate how it gets used in the rhythm of songs.
Deanna, it's something that we touched on earlier when I had mentioned to you about the density of the chord changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I was wondering if we can elaborate on that, if you could speak to that. So for the harmonic rhythm.
Yeah, so that would just be how often the chords are changing. And that sets up an expectation too. So there's lots of songs that operate on a four bar phrase, and we've got four chords that go round and round. And if you were to do that for a section and then you either stretch them out or you compress them, that would change how it felt. Even the exact same four chords. In fact, this is a great exercise if anyone wants to try this at home. Create a 4-bar phrase and with one chord per bar, and then collapse that. So now the four chords happen in 2 bars, and stretch it out and see what the effect is on the melodic phrases that you're singing. So an example of this where I think it matches up really well with the tempo of the song is Hallelujah. So, you know, the Leonard Cohen song and just Jeff Buckley, he's got he's got kind of more than one chord per bar for most of the verse, and then he slows it down to 1 chord per bar in the chorus, and it's just hallelujah, hallelujah, and that gives that pause for contemplation. Okay, I did not perform it in a very contemplative way, but there's this the whole song is building to that moment of that little that just like slightly, it's not a big chorus, and it's clearly not kind of a pop song or a pop chorus, but it has a more meditative quality, and slowing down the rate of harmonic change to 1 chord per bar, where it had been 2 chords per bar, or in some cases 3 in the earlier section, really gives it that sort of shimmering contemplative quality. And actually, if I look at the chords, in this key it's a C and an E minor, so they're not even very different chords. You could extend the argument further in saying it's a change that's minimally changing.
Yeah. So, I mean, people have heard it all the time. It's just the frequency in which the chords change.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the term harmonic rhythm might seem weird, but everybody's heard it before, you know.
And a great example that everyone will know is blues.
Yes.
Yeah, 4 bars, 2 bars.
Tom Hess.
You stole the thunder again, Deanna. I'm joking. Yes, blues is. Go ahead, Deanna. Go ahead. You're right.
Well, it's just that you have 4, a section that has 4 bars, unless it's a quick change blues. Thank you very much. You've got the first 4 chords along the top there. Then we have a change. We have 2 chords, so now 2 bars. So now it's slightly shorter. Then we change back to the first chord, but for only 2 bars. And then the turnaround, you're changing every bar, and that does give you this big push of energy at the end of the blues chord to go around to start again. I'm sure Tom Hess has got more to add to that.
Well, yeah, you got it exactly right. You start off with, I mean, sometimes this chord is replaced with a 4, but the typical, like the textbook, 12-bar blues, you're going to have, you've got a big section here. So the harmonic rhythm is very slow. Then it speeds up, and then it speeds up again at the end. And there's a reason why the harmonic rhythm speeds up towards the end. And Deanna already talked about it, because it propels you forward back to the beginning, to the resolution, to the 1 chord. Okay. In classical music, you would hear this often before cadence points. So if you had, let's say, a 16 measures section of music, you would very often hear this right before the final cadence, where maybe you had 1 chord per measure, and now you may have 2 chords per measure, or even 4 chords per measure. As you get closer to the cadence, the end of the section, returning from 5 to 1, the 5 chord to the 1 chord, the leading up to that resolution, to the 5 chord, usually that harmonic rhythm is going to come faster and faster because it builds more tension by itself. So this isn't really, it has, harmonic rhythm has the word rhythm in it, but we're not actually playing any faster. Although you could play fast, you could change the rhythm. But if you kept the rhythm, 8th notes, quarter notes, 16th notes, the same, but the rate at which the chords change, that rhythm, the harmonic rhythm, speeds up, and it creates a lot of tension, even if you're not accenting with dynamics or in other ways. So it's a very useful tool, been around for centuries, very effective.
Yeah, for people who are more classic rock people, Little Wing by Jimi Hendrix, the whole first half, the chord changes are 4 beats or whatever it is, and then towards the second half, it's just 2 beats, and he just 2 beats, 2 beats, 2 beats, 2 beats, and it has this sense of movement. It doesn't come back to the 1. It actually ends up going to the 7, I think, for the last chord. But the point is that it's just kind of going and it's trudging along, and just by cutting those chord changes, the amount of time you play them in half, it really gives the sense of propelling you towards the end of that whole chord progression. So if anybody's familiar with Little Wing, classic example, it's a very long chord progression, but you definitely feel it. You definitely feel it, and nothing changes rhythmically. Nothing changes, like you said. It's still just quarter note, quarter note, quarter note, quarter note rhythm. There's nothing weird or abstract going on. It's just the amount of time that they spend on the chords. It just gets cut in half for, I don't know, whatever, 4, 5, 6 chords or whatever. And it really gives you this sense of feeling like you're getting moved away from where you just were, and it's taking you someplace else.
I've got one thing to add on the harmonic rhythm thing. The David Bowie song Changes is a great example of this, because it has a sort of 1 chord per bar, quite mellow intro. And then chorus stays 1 chord per bar, and verse stays 1 chord per bar, chorus gets 2 chords per bar, and eventually he gets into this. I just did them wrong, it's not that order. Time may change me, but I can't trace time. So he goes to 1 chord per beat, and then we have a little pause, and then the song cranks up again. And all that variety in the rhythm just makes the whole thing flow in this really, I don't know, musically agreeable way. And it's every time we get one of those little changes, it perks up our attention again. And actually in Let It Be, is it Let It Be by the Beatles? Da, 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 da. There's a similar thing. There's a similar little chord movement where he just does a pattern that's what goes from 2 chords per bar to doing like 1 chord per beat. And then there's a little tiny pause before we get going again. So he's both compressing the chord changes into a shorter time and then having a little tiny breather. And I think that works really well.
I want to thank Tom Hess and Deanna for being my guests on that YouTube Live and providing us with that great information. Let me know in the comment section what other topics you would like me to make new videos on. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, and set your notifications so you will know when I create a new video. Remember, always have fun with your guitar, and I'll see you next time. If you like that video, you're going to love this brand new e-guide that's totally free. The link is in this video's description, or you can go to rhythmguitarlessons.net/P, lowercase r, lowercase o.